A right angle triangle has a base that is 7 centimeter longer than its height, h centimeter. The hypotenuse of the triangle is 23 centimeter. Part 1 show that h satisfies the equation h square plus 7h minus 240 equals to 0. First thing, I have a right angle triangle in which they are saying that the base is 7 centimeter longer than its height. When we say 7 centimeter longer, it does not mean 7 times. We are not going to multiply h with 7. Okay. They've clearly mentioned that the base is 7 times longer than the height. If the height is h, as you can see, so the base is going to be 7 plus h centimeter. Okay. Now I have to construct an equation and then try to reduce it to this form. So what am I going to do to construct an equation? I need to connect these three things. I need to connect them. And how do I connect them? I am going to connect them with the help of the Pythagoras theorem, which says hypotenuse square, which is going to be 23, equals to base square, which is, let's say, 7 plus h, and h plus 7 is the same thing. But 7 minus h and h minus 7, they are not the same. Okay. So I'll take the square of 23 square. Let's say this is 529 is equals to, I'll expand this using the first identity. That will be h square plus 14h plus 49 plus h square. H square plus h square is 2h square, then 14h plus 49. And I'll move it to this side. I'll arrange them all. And I'm going to write it in this way. H square plus h square becomes 2h square plus 14h. I already had 49 on this side, and I'm going to subtract 529 from it. This is going to be 480. This is 2h square plus 14h. That is going to be minus 480. In this equation, I can take 2 common. I'll be left with h square plus 7h minus 240 equals to 0, which means h square plus 7h minus 240 is equal to 0. This is the required equation of the first part. In the next part, write down an expression in terms of h for the area of the triangle. Okay, we all know that the area of a triangle is equals to 1 upon 2 multiplied by base multiplied by height, right? Okay, in this situation, 1 upon 2 remains 1 upon 2. Base is 7 plus h multiplied by height is h. Okay, let's multiply them. So this is going to be 7 will be multiplied with h, and h is also going to multiply with h. I can say 1 upon 2 into 7h plus h square. I can maybe leave it like this, or I can maybe write 7h plus h square whole divided by 2. I'm just leaving it at this point. Okay, and going to continue with the next part. Hence, state the exact area of the triangle. Now, when it comes to finding out the exact area of the triangle, the one way of doing it is to calculate the value of h. I solve this equation, find out the value of h, and then I try to find out the area. The other way is going to be a little different. If you look at the equation you have made in the part 2, which is area equals to 1 upon 2 times 7h into h, 7h plus h square. I can arrange it. I can move this 2 over there, and I can write that 7h plus h square is equals to 2 times a. This is from part 2. Okay. Then if I look at the equation which I got in the first part, that said h square plus 7h minus 240 equal to 0. I can arrange this equation and I can write h square plus 7h is equals to 240. This is from part 1. Now, if you compare this and this, you realize that h square plus 7h, I can say this is h square plus 7h, h square plus 7h equals to 2a, and from here I can say that h square plus 7h equals to 240. So if I observe these two, I realize that h square plus 7h is equal to 2a and h square plus 7h is equal to 240 as well, which should mean that 2a is equals to 240. Okay, and from here I can find out the value of a, which is going to be 120 centimeter square. We'll not be solving for the value of h and then finding out the area, at least for this part. Okay, because solution is asked over here in part 4. In this part, we are asked to solve this equation and we have to generate our answer into one decimal place. Okay. You can just make it just a hint for you that whenever a question gives you a quadratic equation and then asks you to solve and then generate the answer in the decimal place, you are not going to solve it with the help of the middle term breaking. It will not be solved with the help of the middle term breaking, in fact. If the answer is required in one decimal places, so most probably the question we are going to solve that with the help of the quadratic formula. You can take it as a hint because it's a difficult task for students to identify how to solve an equation, whether use middle term breaking or use the quadratic formula. So I am just giving you a hint that if one decimal place is mentioned, the most probably it's the quadratic formula. What is the quadratic formula? The quadratic formula is x equals to minus b plus minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. In the situation that is given to us, variable is h. A is going to be the coefficient of h square, which is 1. A is 1. B, the coefficient of h is going to be 7. C, the constant is going to be minus 240. So I'll substitute all of these in the formula. The variable is not x, that is h. So I've mentioned h minus 7 plus minus 7 square minus 4ac and then whole divided by 2a. This is minus 7 plus minus 7 square becomes 49. Be careful with the signs. This is minus 4 and this is minus 240. So this becomes plus. And then I'll multiply 240 with 4. I'll get 960 divided by 2 ones are 2. This is going to be h is equals to minus 7 plus minus 960 plus square root of 49 becomes 1009. This is 1009 divided by 2. Definitely 1009 is not a perfect square, so I'll take the square root with the help of the calculator. And I'll make sure that my answer is up to one decimal place as given by the question. Minus 7 plus minus. Square root of 1009 is going to be 31.8 over 2. I can separate them. Minus 7 plus 31.8 divided by 2. This is one value of h. And the other one is minus 7 minus 31.8 divided by 2. So if I subtract 7 from 31.8, this is going to be 24.76 divided by 2. And this is going to be 12.38. Let's say this is 12.4 centimeter. And if I continue solving the other part, which says minus 7 and minus 31.8, so I'll get minus 38.8 divided by 2. And then h is going to be equals to 19.4 minus 19.4. I suggest that you do not continue this part after getting this, because at this point you get to know that the value of h is going to be negative, and since h is representing a length which is not acceptable, so I'll discontinue solving this at this point. Okay, so h is going to be 12.4. Once I've solved the equation, the value of h is going to be 12.4. Okay. Or then in the end, they want us to find out the perimeter, and the perimeter of the triangle is the sum of the length of all the sides. The length of all the sides are 23h and 7 plus h. So I can say that the perimeter is 23 plus 7 plus h plus h. H is 12.4 for perimeter. I cannot use a negative value. 7 plus h is 12.4 plus 12.4. And I'll add all of them. 23 plus 7 plus 23. 23 plus 7. The perimeter is going to be 54.8. Okay, let me just check one thing. I mentioned that we should discontinue from this point. But I did not realize that in part 4, they are only asking us to solve. So we'll continue solving till the end and we'll generate both the values of h. But when it comes down to calculating the perimeter, then I'll not consider the negative value. I'll only consider the positive one, because the negative value of a side is not applicable. Okay. So when you're solving part 4, you may continue solving it till the end. You may generate both the values of x, because that is just asking us to solve the equation. So we'll solve and generate both the values, but for the computation of the perimeter, we'll only consider the positive one. Thank you.